Imagine having a successful career as a film director in New York City and then deciding to risk everything. You don't want to grow old and wonder if you could have been successful at this other talent you possess. Now picture traveling the nation, living out of a purple school bus, making music, living in nature, and throwing renegade parties at festivals. You're sending your music to everyone you know, hoping that the right people will hear it and that one day you'll get noticed by a label. Now imagine one day you're on a stage in the middle of a set, playing in front of a large crowd, sharing your love for bass music at a massive festival. You realize the risk has paid off, and this is where you belong. This is the remarkable journey of Patrick McDevitt, better known as Jaenga, an artist who has captured the hearts of the EDM bass community with his unique fusion of tribal elements and signature bass-heavy sounds. In 2015, while still building a successful career in the film industry, Patrick decided to follow his musical dreams and launched his electronic music project, Jaenga. Touring the country in his iconic purple school bus, Jaenga quickly made a name for himself by throwing the wildest renegade sets at festivals. His first EP, To Lombi Tribe, was released in 2018 on Zedstead Deadbeats label, marking a significant milestone in his musical career. Coming from an Air Force family and traveling a lot as a child, Jaenga is quite the pro at adapting to new environments. Life on the road, although sometimes lonely, turned out to be both healing and enlightening. His goal is to create good music and make unforgettable memories. With a toolbox full of skills, Jaenga crafts funny, memorable, and unique content that highlights his wonderful sense of humor and playful spirit. Fast forward to April 2024, and Jaenga's latest EP, Ancestors, was released on Subcarbon Records. These days, you can find Jaenga putting on unforgettable raves and tunnels, under bridges, or on rooftops in the heart of Denver. His story is a testament to the power of following your passion and the incredible places it can take you. I gained so much value out of this conversation with Jaenga, and I hope you do too. Hi. We're about to pick up Jaenga from the airport and do an interview before his show at Vinyl tonight. So excited! The man. Patrick.
Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm Tamra.
Hey.
Nice to
Pat.
meet you.
Nice to meet you. How's
Finally.
your day been?
Good. How about yours?
It's been good. Just hanging.
Yeah.
So hey, how's it going? Hey, nice to meet you.
My husband, my cameraman. Yeah.
Awesome.
I know.
That's a good package.
It is. Jaenga,
Tamra,
welcome to the Festival Network podcast.
thanks for having me.
Yeah. First off, I want to thank you for sharing your art to the world. On behalf of all the ravers, we really appreciate your music. It definitely does make an impact in my life. I listen to it a lot. I've been a fan of yours and listened to your music, and I just love the feeling that I get and how happy I feel after I've heard some of your songs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love hearing that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So Ancestors is currently number 3 on your Spotify.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I've been keeping an eye on it because I'm like, it should be number 1 already, but it's definitely become one of my favorite songs of yours. I love how tribal it is. I've loved Big Moves and Raspberry Mango. I love all of those songs, but
Oh, that's great.
What inspired you to kind of go into more of like this tribal elements of your songs and start creating like something a little bit deeper? And how do you think that resonates with your fans?
So I went back to the tribal feeling because that's where Jaenga started. And I mean, we're going to get deep really quick, but when I made the Talambi EP, which was the first release I did, I was going through a lot of like personal changes, and there was a lot of stuff going on in my life. You know, it was a really hard period of my life, and I was out in Portland with my brother, and we were connecting for the first time in a really long time, like really deep connecting. And around that time, I saw this documentary on the Talambi tribe, and they are known to be one of the most remote tribes on the planet, and they're from Papua New Guinea. And because of how remote they are, they don't know what simple first world things are, like, you know, matches, mirrors, you know, things that we deem very like simple technology to them is magic.
I looked up that they were first discovered like 12 years ago by this explorer, Jean-Pierre. And he was the first person from the outside world that they had ever come into contact with. And so I watched some of the videos on YouTube with that first contact, and it was crazy. It was kind of scary.
Yeah, it's scary because, you know, that doesn't always go well. And there has been a few times where, you know, explorers trying to make contact have lost their lives because the tribes see them as enemies, which is, you know, totally understandable. They've like never seen a person with white skin before, you know, like that's a, you know, enough for them to, you know, kill them, which is exactly what happened with, I forget the name of the tribe, with another tribe. But when you only know your family, you might think the rest of the world is just empty, you know, it could just be a forest and nothing else. But I found it so fascinating that there was like this magic to it. It made me find gratitude for the things in my life that I had when it felt like everything was falling apart.
Nice.
So it was something that I resonated with at the time of my life. And I decided to make the Talambi EP. And I felt like revisiting that again because it just feels that those are the roots of the Jaenga project. And the Jaenga project has always been, you know, a very nomadic project from the beginning, you know, just with traveling in the school bus. And it all aligns in my brain.
Yeah, so it just kind of came full circle with the Ancestors EP.
Yeah, definitely.
How long did it take you to produce the entire EP?
Not very long.
No.
I produced music really quick.
Yeah.
I probably was able to write and finish everything within 1 month. But that's not where the writing process starts and ends. The writing process is living life. And as ambiguous as that sounds, you know, the stuff that I go through on a day-to-day basis, and I think everybody goes through on a day-to-day basis, you go to a show and you hear a sound and you're like, that's a really interesting sound. And that could have been 6 months ago. And I will save inspiring posts that I see on social media. I'll watch interesting documentaries. And once I sit down, it's already written in my head. So I can just sit down, or I have some samples that I've found and I can blaze through it lightning speed. And it's already there in a weird way. It's like you're just kind of pulling it out of the air and making it real.
Like subliminal almost. Like it's just kind of like back there and you hear it, but then you create it and make it
in the strangest way. So it's you understand like the feeling that it gives you, but you can't hear it. Like but I understand the feeling that it's going to give me. And then once I start, and I like, even a snare is enough to like write the rest of it. I'm like, okay, this is the rest of it. Like that snare sound, if I put an echo on it, it's like, okay, that sounds like that feeling.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it just pieces together, but it's building itself. It's like I'm just the guy taking the bricks, and but the bricks were already made. I'm just kind of arranging them.
Where did you find the chanting sample that you used in the Ancestors song? Is that from Tulumbi tribe footage?
No, it's not. It's not. That's just hours and hours of digging. That's all that is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's funny. I mean, the digging itself can sometimes take longer than putting the song together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I came across tons of chants, but that one felt, oh, this is it for sure.
Yeah. What is the feeling that you really want people to kind of get when they listen to this album from start to finish?
I want them to forget a lot of stuff, let things melt away, realize our mortality. Like, you know, there's the truth is that I'll never be able to dictate, you know, someone's understanding or feeling when they listen to it. But it's at least what I would like when I'm listening to something. So simply, whatever they feel, I don't know, but for me, I like listening to something that can take me away from my troubles and worries and everything, and just have that space to like meditate almost and just be present right now with the music.
I watched one of the other podcasts that you were on, and it was the Ableton podcast a year ago. And you said that you want people to go on a spiritual journey when they listen to your music, and where you don't have to work hard to listen to it. You just play the song and then you go somewhere else, and then you come back and you're like, wow, like what just happened?
Yeah.
And I really resonate with that because I listen to a lot of music that's just like background noise, and I feel like I can't focus throughout my day. I can't stay organized or like do what I'm supposed to do because I'm ADHD and I need something kind of like in the background humming at me. So I listen to a lot of songs now without vocals. And, you know, I love listening to songs with vocals because they kind of get me in a certain mood. But then they also, like, when you're singing along to a song, it's like, that's what you're doing, you know?
Right.
But if you have a song that's playing that is just kind of like a really good, like, melody or a really good beat that just kind of like keeps you focused and keeps you in the zone, I feel like that's what this album does for me. And I put on the YouTube video your Mountain Edge YouTube video that you filmed with the Ancestors. And I do want to talk about that too, because I love that setting. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, like you can upload yourself playing on your keyboard, you know, to Instagram, you know, and you're just in your room and you have a white wall behind you, but that's not cool. Like, so I was like, what can we do that's cool? So let's just like do it on top of a mountain. So when I was listening to the music, I just thought, I think the coolest place to do this would be on a mountaintop, because it feels like you're on a mountaintop when you listen to it. Or at least when I made it, that's kind of what it felt like. Oh yeah, they were shooting a Josh Teed video and found this place down the road from that spot. And he said it was one of the most epic mountain spots he found. So we were going to shoot there. And then I realized that if somebody walked into this beautiful place, it was going to mess it up. And it was a tourist spot. So I walked off of this like beautiful platform that overlooked the Flatirons and started walking down the mountain. And super dangerous. And if you fall, I mean, you're you know, definitely not surviving it, but it was super cool. So so we decided to
risk
do it there.
It all for the biscuit.
Yeah, it was funny because I was like, as I was walking down, Jared just kept saying, be careful, and I found this rock, and I said,
very pointy rock.
Yeah, very pointy rock, and sitting on that for 20 minutes was not very fun. And I so confidently said, this is the spot. And Jared so confidently thought I was being sarcastic. Because he's like, yeah, we're definitely shooting on that for sure, because that's safe. And I was like, this is definitely it. And he realized that I wasn't being sarcastic. And so, yeah, we just shot it there. And, you know, it was cool.
Yeah.
Came out really good.
No, it came out really good.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Honestly, it sounds like something that I would do because, it doesn't seem that scary. I mean, I'm not afraid of heights, so you must not be either if you were sitting on that ledge looking down. But
No, not really. I mean,
yeah.
again, it's just like what looks cool, you
Yeah.
know, and can you survive it?
Yeah.
If you can, whatever. And if that was the day I had to go, then it was kind of epic. So whatever.
Well, I'm glad you didn't fall off the cliff that day.
Same. My mom's happy too. Yeah, she was not happy when she saw the footage. She was like, "What are you doing?"
So when you were on top of that mountain, what did you feel when you were finally playing it and like looking out at that beautiful scenery?
So the older I get, the more I actually want to just make the art and be in the art. Whereas I used to be very concerned about scaling and growing when I was younger. And I realize it more so because I've gone through changes in my life. I've lost people very close to me. You know, I realize my own mortality. And as I get older, it actually means less to me to like scale and more to me to actually just be an artist. And so when I was sitting there, I made a conscious effort to actually make it a moment that I could look back on at the end of my life and go, that was fucking cool, you know? And I was there with all my friends.
Yeah.
And we made something really fun. And the more I look at these shows and a moment like that, I just see music as a reason to bring people together. And for everybody to so confidently believe in the sound that I'm making is very cool. And I enjoy that perspective. But I think it's more important that we're just together and we're doing something awesome. And I hope that everybody I was with, which was Alec, Jared, Victor, Steven, that they can all look back on it and go, that was an awesome day. And that's exactly what it felt like. And it still feels like that. So I'm glad that to me is a success.
Yeah, that's a great story. I love that. I was really curious after, watching that video and then reading your the reel that you created to promote the video and like the details that you added. I was like, I feel like there's a really good story behind that video. So
yeah,
awesome.
Simple. Yeah. But there is.
But I mean, it's very memorable, honestly. You're very fortunate to have that environment to be able to just go to the mountains because there's not very many states where you can just like drive, an hour and find a beautiful spot to go and record some footage. So, yeah.
Yeah, Colorado's incredible.
Mm-hmm. So you made a video in May of 2023 at the release of your Santa Monica EP, and you were talking about staying on your friend's couch, and you drove there to perform at a Deadbeats Brownies and Lemonade show. And you quoted, "I daydream of what it would be like to have enough money to be paid as a musician, to pay your bills as a musician." Can you share another moment in your career where you faced a challenge and you took a chance like that?
Yeah, definitely. So yes, I was in California on my friend's couch. The interesting part about it is that that was part of the story. The reason I was living basically couch surfing for so long is because I decided to take a leap of faith into music. And I used to have a film studio in New York, and I used to have a career in film. And I used to believe that I was going to grow old and retire as a film producer, director, cinematographer. And there was a lot of used tos. And I had multiple moments when I would like show up to my studio or wake up on the couch in my studio because I was addicted to work and just being there, and realize that everything I wanted, which I currently have, isn't what I expected. And it allowed me to see myself in the future, gray hair. I'm like driving probably some nice car, that I like, but I care about it too much, and like I don't really fully invest in the clients I'm working with. I just saw this life like down the road, and it didn't feel like something I wanted. And so I'm really grateful to Deadbeats and Zed's Dead and Cameron Kaminsky, who gave my album to them, when I made it, because that changed a lot. It allowed, just first of all, them signing it was enough belief on their end that I was like, maybe I can abandon everything and just restart.
It was like a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, it just felt like, let's try this out, let's just see if this works. And I am not getting any younger. And, I've like always daydreamed about what it would be like to tour and do all that. So I decided to try it out. And that landed me for like a few years, like shattered, because I ended up like couch surfing a lot, and I was living on my brother's couch. Like it was like a week I was supposed to just be at his place, and it turned into like, basically a year. And I was very confident the whole time for the most part. I'm like, we're going to make this work. We're going to make this work. Like, and like, right towards the tail end, before I actually started like playing shows, I started thinking to myself, like, is this gonna work? Like, and that was a scary question. And I had to take a deeper look at myself, and I had to realize that I don't know everything, and I'm like not as cool as I think I am, and like maybe I can learn something for people that are more successful in doing the music thing. Because I just thought it was like, yeah, you just like put out Instagram posts and just complain about airlines. So that's like what all DJs do, like I thought it was like simple. And then I realized that no, you actually have to like make a lot of music. You have to put a lot of music out, and you have to be vulnerable. Basically just a lot of things I didn't realize. And yeah, I got pretty tough there for a while, and I had to make a lot of personal changes in my life, and ultimately it ended up working out awesome, because where I am now is a place that I am happy to pay rent, and I am happy to be an artist, and it's an unbelievable thing. And ultimately I think I'm just a better person overall from all that.
Yeah, all the challenges and like the setbacks and questions, and you figured it out, and now you have a solid career as a DJ, Jaenga, and you get to share your art with the world on a larger platform.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Well, I love hearing that, because I think that it's a good reminder to people that are just getting started, or maybe someone who's only been in the industry for 1 to 2 years and they haven't really taken off yet. There's a lot of things that you have to learn. What would you say are the top 3 things that you wish you knew when you started?
Be patient. Be so patient. I've been making music since I was, really young. I was making electronic music when I was started probably when I was 15. It's like I'm 32, so it just
okay. I'm 31, so
yeah. Just be patient. Like it's like if you try and speed up the process, art is very fragile, and it doesn't like when it's rushed. Mm-hmm. Get stuff out there. Don't be a perfectionist. Like that's not going to help at all.
Yeah.
But just be patient. Also, if we're talking about 3 things, I'd say number 2, nobody owes you anything, and it's important to recognize that. accountability is so important, and to realize that people out there don't owe you stuff. Like it doesn't even matter if you've done favors for other people. You should do it just because you believe in them. You should do it because they're your friends. And if they don't repay that favor, that's okay. But if they do, that's gravy. And for a third one, man, put it out. Put the song out. You've been sitting on it for way too long. It is time to put it out. That EP that you made, that you don't think is finished, that it still has to get mastered, that you have to like mix it down properly, it's not ready. Oh man, I have seen so many friends, like so talented. It's the most heartbreaking thing to me, where I'll sit down with them at their apartment and they'll just show me all of their music, and it blows my mind how much they kill it, yet they don't think it's ready to be put out. And it breaks my heart because life goes by so fast, and you're never going to have the opportunity to put it out there. You know, if it has been a year and you haven't put it out, succumb to the fact that you're not putting it out. It's done. Like, it's not going to happen. And I've seen it so many times. So it's like, if you don't put it out today, when are you going to put it out? You know, oh, it has to be on the right label. I have to get the right manager. I have to do this. No, just like put it out. It kills your career before it even starts your career. And to me, it's absolutely devastating. You know, and I'm not naming any names, but I have like a few friends close to me that blow me away. Like, some music that they have is actually my favorite music, and no one else has the opportunity to hear it. Like, they've made some of my favorite songs. No one else has heard it because they won't put it out. And it's like one of my favorite songs of all time, yet the world hasn't heard it. And I always think, what would happen if you just tried it out, put it out? Yeah. Keep your job, do everything you're doing. Yeah. Do everything, you know, you don't have to change anything in your life, just upload it on SoundCloud, upload it on Spotify. And maybe your entire world will change. You don't know.
Yeah. And there's so many things there that we could dive into. I really like that, because I feel like in today's society, you know, we have so much over comparison. We have so much perfectionism, and everything is just at a high quality, you know? And so I feel like the lack of confidence and maybe the lack of encouragement, or just keeping everything to yourself and not asking friends like, hey, what do you think of this? Do you like it? You know, get some ears on it. But yeah, it is really sad to think that, you know, we have talented people that aren't sharing their art. So yeah, I think that's a really important advice. You mentioned no one owes you anything. And again, in today's society with social media, like for like, follow for follow, comment for comment, at what point does it become daunting to where like you're supporting people? And especially as an artist, if you want to be supported by other artists, you kind of like collaborate, you like people's stuff, you share other people's stuff. So at what point does that become like too much work for you to just be constantly promoting other people and not see any support back?
I mean, I just support people if I like the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where it ends. It's like, cool. Yeah.
Right.
You know, whatever. I just upload something, I'll just post my story, check this out, whatever. Yeah. And then I just move on, you know. So
you don't feel pressure to share it like other people's stuff and promote if you're asking them to do it for you, or do you ask people to help promote your stuff?
I feel a little bit of tension when I ask people to post something, and I think that's probably why I stray away from it, and that's probably why I just kind of keep to myself a lot of the time. But a realization that I came to recently is it doesn't actually take much effort for somebody to post something to their story, right? Because I do it a lot, you know, and I don't mind it. I don't mind like reposting things or whatever. And in that moment recently, I was thinking, I do this all the time. I know how it feels. So it's actually interesting to ask a bunch of acquaintances in the music industry, hey, can you post this? Or, could you, do me a favor? And it's fascinating to see the responses because you get to see where everybody's at mentally. And I can understand their journey a bit more. Some people just want to like ride solo and like, they don't follow people back. Like they have like, 100,000 followers and they follow like, 10 person or like one person, and that's their like other account or something. So everybody has like their own flow and everybody has their own way of navigating this like digital version of themselves, right? It's almost like an avatar of like who they are. And it may not even be the same person when you meet them in person, but I get to see the way that they like to navigate that digital version of themselves. And again, I don't hold anything against anybody or, feel any way if they would like to support something or don't support something. But yeah, for me personally, I think if you feel people owe you, it's a lot easier to stray away from all of your own tools that you have on the table to build your career, because you're not looking at those tools now. Now you're going, this external force is keeping me from moving forward. And it's like, no, it's not. You're just averting your attention from all the things that will move you forward, and they're right there in front of you.
So growing up in an Air Force family, how did you turn out to be such a hippie?
Probably my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is funny, right? 'Cause my dad was like the
Wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, he was like a really militant guy, and had a high and tight haircut, and when he shook your hand, you almost broke it. And really respect the guy in the Air Force. He retired as a major, and had a bunch of people under his command, and beautiful human being. And as I was growing up, he never pushed me into the Air Force, never pushed me into serving whatsoever. Under the surface, my dad was a hippie. Like, he loved just like the idea. He'd always joke about like growing his hair out and just like, sitting on a porch smoking a doobie, and he'd talk about that with like his friend Chuck, my uncle, and I'd always overhear that, and like he'd be listening to Ozzy Osbourne in the car and like playing air guitar and all this stuff. And that's originally why I got into guitar when I was younger, and then bridged into EDM. But totally because of my dad. And I as I was growing up, I was always looking for validation, to feel that I was like accepted, and to feel that I had value in this world. And because my dad was the coolest person I knew, I wanted to be of value to my dad. So I think as a younger kid, I just did what he would deem really cool. So I started playing guitar because I was like, all right, if I do this, my dad's gonna think I'm super cool.
Yeah.
And then that allowed me to like learn to love music. I did. I had to learn to love music. As a younger kid, it wasn't like so natural to me. I didn't just like pick up a guitar and like love it. There were some songs that I loved for sure that, I tried to play, like Crazy Train and stuff like that. And then eventually I found my own thing, and that was EDM. And I didn't have to learn to love EDM. I heard it and I was like, damn, this is sick. Like, this is my thing. And I realized that there was a difference. My dad had his thing and I learned to love it. And then I found my thing, and that was EDM. And it was really cool to go on the journey of EDM and have my dad, he didn't understand it fully, but he was totally embracing it. So yeah, I became a hippie because of my dad. Really long hair. I used to wear mala beads. I used to drive a school bus around. I did that for like 4 years. I've had long hair my entire life, and there was just so much stacking on my life as I got older, of just like spirituality and like, pretty much like being broke. So I decided to just like live in a school bus because that's like a way that I can make music and not worry about a roof over my head. I just didn't want anybody to control my life. And the only way I could do that was by building a life that didn't cost money and no one could say yes or no. I had basically the power to do anything I wanted to do as a human. And ultimately, I think that's what made me a hippie. So I was just like, I don't want the man getting in my life, you know? It was kind of like a F the man type situation. Like, you know, I don't want to pay taxes. I want to be off the grid. I just want to play an acoustic guitar if I feel like it, or read a book and be on the river, which is what I was doing all the time. I was just kayaking and playing guitar and making bass music.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. But for me, there was a time and place for it because I'm still the same person now. It's just like I've gone through the journey for so long that I started realizing there were illusions that I had and there was reality that I found. And it took me a long time of traveling the States in a school bus and playing after parties for 4 years and getting signed to like my favorite record label and like being disappointed and like, you know, making up my first paycheck from a show and like finally like discerning reality from illusion. And over time I realized this is the person I want to be. And that's the person that I am sitting here right now. And I'm so grateful to have gone through all that hardship and feel confident now that if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, I'd be okay. Like, you know, I'm already happy and I feel like I've achieved everything that I've wanted to up to this point. And I have goals for sure. And I push towards them every day, but I'm cool right now, just right where I'm at.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm so happy for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, because not everyone finds that happiness in their career or in themselves even. Like they might tell themselves they're happy and do all the things that they think they like doing. Just like you said, you had illusions. And I feel like, you know, you do have to be a certain type of person and be open-minded to growing from those hard experiences to be able to change and be a better person in the end for it.
Sure. And I think it's funny the way that it's phrased, you know, like what makes you a hippie, right? And when I hear that, because I joke about it all the time, like, yeah, like, you know, I was a massive hippie, you know, and,
yeah.
like, and I'm still like a hippie at heart in a sense. But like that in itself is an exploration of life, you know? And I realized that I do want more than just sitting on a river reading a book and like not like, cause those were lonely times. Yeah. Like I didn't have other people around me. Like I didn't have other people hanging out with me and, you know.
Just the animals.
Yeah, just me and the animals. And you can only do that for so long.
Yeah.
You know, I started feeling like I was retired or something.
Yeah.
And that didn't feel right. I was like, I got to get back in the game. Like I got to live a life. And I didn't feel like I was living a life. I think in order to become the person that I wanted to become, I had to live exactly the image in my head of what true freedom was. And that was being a hippie. That was like totally just doing the dang thing. Like screw getting an apartment. Like I'm not paying for that. I'm not going to give the government my money. Like, you know, I'm going to live off the grid. I'm going to just completely do exactly what I want to do as a human. And then once I did all that, I realized, okay, now I can really see there are things that I need. I do want a shower, which I don't have. Like I want warm water, which I don't have. I don't even have running water, like, you know. And there was all these things that I didn't think about until I got there. And now it's like, I've almost took that image and then just pulled the things that I need. Okay, I'm going to get an apartment now. I'm going to actually get an apartment. I'm going to get a refrigerator. That's awesome. And so it feels as if I've been able to, like, if I was to put it in diet terms, if something is messing up your gut, what do? You get rid of everything. So you know when you start reintroducing things, what is actually messing you up. So it was like those years of, like, pretty much having nothing voluntarily. Now when I reintroduce things, I'm so grateful for them, because I only reintroduce things that I absolutely want or need in my life.
Yeah.
And it's got me to this point where, like, cool, this is great. I'm super happy.
Yeah. It gave you the freedom to design your life how you wanted to, as opposed to what society told you your life should look like.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Because society doesn't know anything about us. Society, I don't think, even wants what's best for us a lot of the time.
No.
Especially in a capitalist society. And I've got nothing against it. That's what we live in, and we certainly all partake in it. But that doesn't mean we should be listening to people, because they're not us. And only we know what's best for us.
Well, thank God we live in America, and this is a free country, and not very many, places where you can just safely go and live in a van as a single person and travel, and make music. So the fact that we're able to do, and anyone can do what you did, you're not special. I mean, you are special, but
I'm not very special.
I always wanted to say that to someone. So
that's
I
where it
like
ends. Roll credits.
I could just slide that in.
I feel like that's an important realization after that journey of self-actualization.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I'm really not special. I do need
Yes. Totally. Yes. That's so true. It's so true.
So you've worked with several labels as a producer. You've been on Deadbeats, you've been on Wakan, Sasquan, Moreflow, and you've worked hard to get your songs signed with them. What is the process in getting your songs sent to and accepted by labels of, the ones that you want, the stature that you want?
I can only speak from my experience, but I feel the first record that I had, which was Talambi Tribe with Deadbeats, was through a friend who had a connection, which allowed them to listen to it. They have to like it, so they liked it, and that got on Deadbeats. That opened the door for other labels, I think, because now other labels see a bit more of, like, prestige or value, because they say, oh, okay, well, he was on that record label, so he can be on this record label. I also think there's something to real connections in real life, and it's not all online, because that's what worked for Subcarbon. I just happened to have a relationship with Ganja White Knight from a few years prior, because they came to my studio, actually, to use my studio in New York, which is like a crazy full circle thing.
Yeah.
Because I was and still am such a fan of Ganja White Knight.
I love Ganja White Knight.
Yeah, they're phenomenal, and they're the coolest guys. And when they came in, I was just trying so hard not to, like, fanboy all over them. So I just like was trying to just keep my cool. And
so this was before you were really, like, making music. They came in, you were doing your studio, and
I wasn't
like, I just met my heroes.
I wasn't on a record label or anything. I was just making music as, like, a passion, like, on
Love
the side.
that.
Yeah, so when they came through, I mean, they brought their tour bus outside, and, like, Ebo's artwork is all over it. It's like their album tour artwork or whatever. And they come in and they're like, yeah, this spot's pretty sweet. I think we could do our after party here. And because they're playing Times Square, and my studio is pretty close to Times Square. And I got to watch Ebo paint the entire, like, 18-foot wall that we had in there.
Wow.
Just like their album, their tour artwork, and it was really, really cool. So years later, you know, because of that, it was just funny. I was, you know, just I guess now in music, and I had like the Deadbeats releases, so I just asked, you know, would you guys like want to release this? And they were like, yeah, this is great.
Awesome.
And yeah, it definitely helps when you're like, when you know people. So if you're at a show, like just don't be afraid to walk up to somebody, like talk to them. They're a human, you know, and like likely they're not going to be a jerk. Like sometimes they are, but I don't think it's very often, you know. And if they are, whatever, you don't want to talk to that person anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care who they are, whatever.
Yeah, like you build people up to be like these heroes, and then we kind of stumble and get nervous whenever you go to meet them. But we do have to remember that everyone is human, and if you want something, if you feel like you have something to offer, then you have to break down that barrier and talk to them and say, like, even if you just go up and compliment your hero and say, I've listened to you, you changed my life, like say whatever is on your mind. People love hearing compliments.
Yeah.
So you can't go wrong with that. Like you can't mess up, and then, you know, if it ends up being a disappointment, then get out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that bubble of like a show or a festival is very much a bubble, right? So like when that artist walks into that bubble, they know that's going to be happening for the entire time that they're in that bubble. And then when they leave and they go to the grocery store, nobody knows who they are, you know, and that's kind of how it works. I mean, even with some of the biggest artists, I mean, you know, like they can walk into a supermarket in LA and nobody knows who they are.
Right.
And that's just part of it. So it's expected, you know, if you go up to somebody at a festival, it's like, you know, a big artist.
Yeah.
Whatever, like,
I think
go
it's,
say what's up. Like,
yeah, I think it's so cool whenever artists just like go into the crowd and like party with everyone, with all of the GA people, and they're just like incognito and no one even knows. And then they post videos like, here, look at, I was like, wait, you were in the middle of that set right next to me and I had no idea. Like we were at EDC one year, the year we actually got married at EDC.
oh, it's so awesome. Wow.
Not to brag.
I love that.
So we were at, what set was that? Where Pascal Rell was like next to us, and I saw it in a
Reaper.
Oh, okay. So we were at Reaper on one of the side stages, like not at a main stage. I think it was like the Corona stage or something like that. And it's a small stage. We're having a blast. And then I'm watching videos from that set the weekend after, and Pascal Rell posted videos that he was at that set, and there was pictures of where he was standing, and he was standing like 3 feet from where we were.
That's awesome.
And I didn't even see him. And I'm just like, the man.
That is so
the man
cool.
who created this festival, just like out roaming about.
Wow.
And
he has
know,
such a distinct look.
Yeah.
So you'd have to, if you saw him, you know it's him.
Yeah, and I would have, but I mean, I was just living in the moment, having fun. And I do look around a lot whenever I'm raving. I like to people watch, but I guess that time I just wasn't very observant.
Wow. Wow.
I want to talk about your marketing strategy and the Jaenga band.
Sure.
I've been a huge fan of all of your content, all the videos that you create with the Jaenga band. They're very memorable, and I laugh at all of them because they're just such fun characters. So how did you come up with that concept of using like multiple versions of you within the video to create what you wanted? Like, was it a challenge because you didn't have friends that could be actors, or were you just like, I can do this, I don't need anyone, and then you just went with that, and now every time you have a new song or a new EP, you use that Jaenga band to promote the new release?
Yeah, it's it's useful. It's definitely useful because it is funny and it's like engaging. My friend Andre from my hometown was like, you should make a poster like a rock and roll poster, because he had a really cool motorcycle, and he's like, just use my bike and like you know, put a bunch of you around it.
Okay.
And so that's how I announced a track that I was releasing, and it did so well. So like the engagement on that post like was crazy, and it was like more than all my other posts. I was like, what the heck? Man, of course, the first time I do like a meme thing, everybody thinks it's funny, because my branding was always very serious. It's always very serious. And like, I do like a lot of like black and white stuff and a little like more mysterious. And that was one of the first times that I brought like this edge of humor to like my brand. And I saw the way people reacted to it. And in my brain, I was thinking, well, my goal in music is to make people feel good. And that's not the content I'd usually put out, but it resonates with my goal. So if that's the goal, then why don't I just do like more of this stuff? So because I'm a film guy, I was like, it'd be really funny if I just did that poster, but in like video form. So I just did like a video form of it, thought it was so cringe. So I didn't upload it. I was like, I'm not uploading this.
Yeah.
And then my brother convinced me, and he's just like, just do it, whatever, you can delete it.
You should have taken your own advice. Just put it out.
Yeah, I know. Well, it took me a while to learn that. And so I ended up putting it out pretty much after a doctor told me that like, I had this whole health thing happen. Like I was like potentially gonna die and all this stuff. Whoa. It was crazy. And so when I got out of the hospital, I was like, whatever, man. I just posted it because I was like, again, my goal is to like bring light to the world. So I'm just gonna freaking just put it out there and whatever. Because I had a new perspective on life because I walked out of a hospital like, okay.
Wow.
My lung collapsed, like longer story. But I decided I'll put it out, and it did really well. Everybody was just like, you know, loving it and commenting, and I saw that it was something that made people's day better, and I thought that was funny. So I'll just do more of them, and I love them. I love them. Genuinely fun for me to do. Yeah. When I hear people complaining about social media, I'm like, damn, that sucks. You feel that way because I love it.
Yeah. Social media, as in like viewing social media, creating social media.
Yeah. You know, and I get it. Like if it's not your forte, it can be stressful. Yeah, if it's not your forte, then like I totally understand. Like if somebody said I had to cook like lasagna every day, and I don't like cooking or making. You don't like cooking? No. If I didn't like cooking, and I like cooking, but if I didn't like cooking and I didn't like making lasagna, every day would suck. Yeah. You know, if they're like, you have to do this to be successful, I'd be like, are you kidding me? Yeah. I don't want to make lasagna every day. Yeah. That's how I resonate with people that don't like making social media content. It's like they just don't like it, you know, and totally understand. I just happen to be a person that loves film and I love making content. So it's, for me, it's just fun.
Yeah, I think that's an advantage that you love making film and that you also are talented at it, so you can produce great content, as opposed to like people may just get stressed out about wanting to put a good quality video out and not knowing how to approach it. So yeah, you kind of got lucky there. But not lucky, but you worked hard to get to where you are.
Sure.
Now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm definitely not intrinsically talented. It took time. I was terrible.
How does that play into storytelling with your brand? Because one thing that I've noticed is that you kind of like build on each story with the Jaenga band. Like as you guys grow in fame, you know, you're trying to buy a Lamborghini. Yeah. But do you have stories that you like want to tell through the Jaenga band, or is it just strictly for promotional purposes?
It just depends on the week, you know. Sometimes I look at it as Friends, like the TV show Friends. Like it's never there's no like bigger picture necessarily. It's just like a day in the life type of thing. So sometimes, you know, Suit Jaenga's pissed because they're not making enough music, and that's their way of saying, well, we just finished this EP, so like, why are you angry? And,
Yeah.
you know, when you put that in a little snippet, it's just funny,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And right now the band's obsessed with flipping hip hop songs.
Yes.
You know? And for some reason, they just won't stop flipping hip hop songs. And, you know, it's just like, whatever, I don't know. Just,
So who's in the band? There's Alex and Blake.
there's Alex and Blake. Yeah. There's Suit Jaenga.
Just Suit Jaenga.
He's just Suit
Okay.
Jaenga. Yeah. Or Business Jaenga.
The manager.
And then Alex and Blake. And
Okay.
nobody knows the other guy's name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
I was wondering because I've never heard his name be mentioned, and I'm like, I was trying to figure out his name, and I don't know.
nobody knows that. Nobody knows his name. But yeah, I mean, you know, the band gets along well. Business Jaenga, when he wears the suit, I guess he's just a dick. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't even know.
He hangs out with Justin Bieber too much.
He thinks he does. That's the thing. Like, we're all very curious if he does or not.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but we don't know.
Yeah.
But that's the band. Like, you know, I half the time don't even feel I'm writing it. I just feel like it's a real like parallel universe, and I just kind of.
So these are your multiple personalities.
Yes.
I gotta let them out somehow.
Yeah. No, for real. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. Like, these ideas just come out of nowhere.
Okay, so rapid fire. One festival you've always wanted to attend but haven't. These are supposed to be fast.
I'd love to go to a country festival.
Welcome to Oklahoma.
Lost Lands.
Yes.
Lost Lands.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
play there one day.
It seems awesome. Everybody
it
says
looks
how,
really fun.
Everybody says how awesome it is. Yeah, I'd love to go. Yeah.
Your go-to productivity tool.
Go-to productivity tool? Man, going on a walk, for sure, hands down. You go on a walk, everything makes sense when you get back. And if it
100%.
doesn't, you didn't go on a long enough walk.
Yeah, 100%. The song that never fails to get you pumped.
Still Dre.
Still Dre.
Yeah.
One piece of tech you can't live without.
I mean, definitely my computer, but that's a lame answer. So the second piece is my air fryer.
Okay. Yep. We love our air fryer. Early bird or night owl when creating music?
Early bird.
A recent book or podcast that has inspired you?
War of Art. It talks about procrastination and how it will kill everything. And it shows you how to overcome it. It's a great book. Totally recommend.
Okay. Thank you. The best city for music vibes?
Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure, yeah.
You could kind of say Austin, but you live in Denver, and Denver is like the base capital.
Austin is cool because I was just there last night, 2 nights ago. Insane. Tampa, also insane. So, but Denver takes the cake. For
Yeah.
Sure.
An artist you will predict will be the next big thing.
Artist that I predict would be the next big thing.
You can say yourself.
No, I mean that doesn't. That's like doesn't even make sense. Man, artist I think would be the next big thing. I don't know who exactly, but it's always the quiet one that is doing a lot of work, and that person, it's always the most unassuming, and then they would just blow up. So be friendly to everybody.
Yeah.
Seriously, because you never know.
You don't.
You never know. Like, I love talking to people as if they're already like headliners, and
Yeah.
they just started making music.
Last question. If you could collaborate with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
If I could collaborate with one person, who would it be? It would have to be Zed's Dead. It'd have to be Zed's Dead, because that would be so full circle for me. They were my one of my biggest inspirations. They were my first entry into a label, which blew my mind. And yeah, absolutely. I've always loved their music. They've always been such
Same.
an inspiration.
Yeah.
So for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jaenga. This has been really great. We'll have to do this again.
Yeah,
And
for
I'm
sure.
excited to see you perform tonight, hear the Ancestors album live finally.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Tamara. It was freaking awesome. Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Awesome.